Opinions and suggestions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and are not necessarily endorsed by KRMG, Cox Media Group Incorporated, or the program sponsors. This following program is sponsored by Causeway, LLC. Information in this broadcast is not intended as an investment, tax, or financial advice. Matthew Moore is not a licensed investment advisor and speaks solely from his experience and opinions. All information in this broadcast is for entertainment or educational purposes only. Matthew Moore, Causeway, LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa are not responsible for the success or failure of any person's investment decisions or purchases. Matthew Moore, Causeway, LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa makes no and expressly disclaims all representations, warranties, and guarantees with respect to this broadcast and its sponsors. Investing in any market is inherently risky and can be financially dangerous. Invest at your own risk. Gather knowledge in the world of cryptocurrency right now on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's news and talk. Welcome to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. Matthew is locally based right here in Tulsa. Questions, comments, concerns? Call 918-460-5764 or send us an open mic using the KRMG app. Now, here's Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore.
And good Sunday evening to you. My name is Russell Mills. Thank you very much for joining us for the show this evening. We are live and local in the big city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. But by golly, we're going out over the interwebs all over the planet. In fact, we have guests from far-flung corners of the earth planned for you today. I'm going to get right to it, though. Let's bring in our host. He is the guy who started this show, and he is one of the most knowledgeable people about cryptocurrencies you're going to meet, especially in Tulsa, Oklahoma. His name is Matthew J. Moore. I call him Matt. Hey, Matt.
Hey, thanks, Russell. That's right. Some people call me Matt. Some people call me Matthew. But my full and legal name is Matthew James Moore. So
James.
If anybody,
I've never even asked you that.
Right. Yeah. Some for those who wanted to know. Well, guys, I just want to welcome you to actually one of the only radio shows in the United States that's dedicated to this topic. We love to educate people about Bitcoin, what's going on in this cryptocurrency space. Because you know what? I really feel like this stuff needs to be known. And, yes, the market might be a little down right now. We're not down. We're actually pretty happy to be here. And hopefully you'll stay encouraged and you'll stay on this journey with us and have patience, because patience is rewarded in this space, no doubt. And I just want to, make known, it's that time of year again. Time, for another federal open market committee meeting. And so on May 4th, they're going to make a decision. They're going to talk about what they're going to do with interest rates. But why do I care? Why should you care? Well, currently, all markets are heavily influenced by their centralized decisions, and it's sad, I know. Very true, though. And cryptocurrency is not an exception in this case, and traditional markets are kind of currently fragile and drunk on this cheap money. But will the party be forced to keep going, or will the Federal Reserve usher in the giant hangover that is well beyond needed? The decision made in May will set course for many things, and we'll unpack this some more. But on segment 2, we're going to be bringing on a gentleman by the name of Ben Jarvie from the Amber app, a U.S. and Australian application designed to make Bitcoin buying easy and cheap. And the topic that we'll dive into with him is this: Bitcoin. Is it the Myspace of the crypto world? Will Bitcoin always be king? Why or why not? I promise you, you don't want to miss what Ben has to say on this. You might be surprised at the answers he's going to provide. And the person who helps me tackle these deep issues and sitting on my left is my empowering co-host, Eric Cooper. Eric, you ready to chew on this content today, my friend?
I always thought that your middle name was Just Amazing. So Matthew,
gosh.
Just Amazing Moore.
Well, I always say expect more. So
Definitely. Also in studio for our this episode is our friend, partner, and sponsor, Scott McElroy. And we're having a discussion off top. It's not McElroy, it's McElroy. So he's also a Bitcoiner and is the owner of the best car wash in town. Which car wash is that, you may be asking? Well, that is Bubble Up Car Wash, and it is Kenosha and Lynn Lane, right, Scott?
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. We in BA, we have different names for streets. I don't know if you knew that. So,
and I believe the street signs are blue instead of green.
Yeah. Now, Scott, how did Bitcoin 2022 Miami go for you? Did you enjoy it as much as we did? It was awesome, obviously, having a pretty big group with us.
I enjoyed it. It was my first Bitcoin conference experience, and lots of learning. I think by day 2, I was just completely overwhelmed with all the information that I was taking in. I think the biggest thing for me was the amount of information, the amount of people in the space, the amount of really well-known people. You got billionaires all over the world that have 40 to 60% of their net or their wealth in Bitcoin. And I think that's just really cool as we move further into this space.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. And what else is amazing is in studio, we also have another guest, and I'm going to let Eric introduce her.
Obviously, we've done Mother's Day, Father's Day. We've had girlfriends. I have my daughter, and this is Finley Cooper. Finley, do you want to say hello to everybody?
Hi.
I love it.
Now, it's her birthday this week, so we got a birthday on Friday, and my daughter's turning 7, and we're kind of have her in studio to prove a little bit of a point. Matt, you were sending out and posting a video of some adult people, and they were posed with a question, and so we're going to ask Finley this question.
Yeah, I love it. All right, well, Finley, here's the question, okay? You ready for this? If I had a $100 bill in my hand right now, and I also were offering you one full Bitcoin, would you take the $100 or would you take the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin.
Oh my gosh, she passed the test. That is phenomenal.
And Finley, why would you take the Bitcoin?
Because it's worth more than $100.
Yeah, that's
Like
right.
way more.
It's way more.
And how about maybe next year or the year after that? Do you think the $100 is going to be worth more or the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin's going to be worth a lot, a lot. You know what? Eventually, we're going to measure everything in Bitcoin. That's my personal opinion. Well, you know,
Good job, Finley.
yeah,
You
right.
did well. That was her international radio debut, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
So-
right.
She's going to be an influencer pretty quickly.
That's right. Well, as wonderful as this space has treated us through the years, the near future might get interesting. And sometime in May, I will bring on a special guest to tackle another episode on monetary policy. Monetary policy is important for the cryptocurrency world, and that is why we talk about it so much. And yes, I am kind of an econ nerd, but that's just how it is. But
Yeah, Matt, do you think that's one component impacting the crypto markets currently? I mean, cryptocurrency is at an all-time low with retail investors, and the fear and greed index, which is what measures the sentiment in the market, it's currently at extreme fear.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people are scared right now. I mean, I think so, Scott. There's a lot of uncertainty with investors right now, but the real question at hand is, what is the Federal Reserve going to do this month, and how will that impact the crypto market directly? With this Federal Reserve having another Federal Open Market Committee meeting, I know that's a mouthful, but on May 4th, I think this could get interesting. I mean, just like I've mentioned in the past episodes, I think the Federal Reserve is kind of in this lose-lose situation. And the Fed may no longer be caring about the economy and equity markets.
Well, Matt, are you? What do you mean by that? I mean, are you saying that they're willing to actually take actions which are going to crush our economy?
Well, okay, let's look at it this way. We have a real inflation problem, and everybody knows about it. The White House knows it, and they've been pressuring them, the Fed, to get it under control. No doubt about it. But the most important thing, or the most important line that Chairman Powell has recently said, was that we can't have a strong labor market unless we get inflation under control. And in my opinion, that attitude basically signals to the world that a recession is coming. In the past, Powell has said that inflation was transitory and that the economy was strong. And in my personal opinion, I kind of knew that was a dishonest statement from the get-go. I mean, even if inflation does drop lower in future months and policymakers champion that they broke the back of inflation, the truth is, month after month, inflation is this compounding event. And apart from trying to save their reputation, the reason why why Chairman Powell has said that is that they feel comfortable about taking an aggressive approach and tackling inflation because they thought that the economy was strong and strong enough to handle it. And they were saying and expecting that the U.S. economy was going to see a 1.1% GDP rise in quarter one. Well, the data's here, and guess what? Instead of
it was more.
No. The GDP was actually negative 1.4% in Q1. And if the economy is this week with interest rates as they are at the current levels, the next few rate hikes will most likely push the economy into a recession. And with this unexpected GDP report, will Powell now use it as an excuse to maybe keep the cheap currency flowing, or will he still act aggressively to tackle inflation, and in doing so will most likely cripple the markets? Does he want a recession, or will he settle for this out-of-control inflation to keep this party going? I mean, this is a tough situation. The Fed has signaled at least a 50 basis point interest rate hike in May, and honestly, Eric, I don't have all the answers. But based off of the data, we are halfway into an official recession, and it shall be interesting to see how this cookie crumbles and how the cryptocurrency marketplace actually responds to this. But one thing is for sure, I'm still buying, and I know there's other people still buying. And when there is fear and blood in the streets, I am a big buyer. So the question for Scott and Eric is, are you guys still buying?
DCA, baby. Whether it's up, whether it's down, you got to keep cruising. And when you can, what we see it all the time, people in jest say, hey, Bitcoin's on sale. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I actually just changed some of my payroll stuff to have a certain percentage of my income automatically transitioned into Bitcoin. So.
Okay. Well, when we come back, we're going to have an interesting conversation with a special guest, so stay tuned.
You are listening to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore, and you're listening to it live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and around the world from the studios at 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Quick time out. Be right back. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. My name's Russell Mills. We are live and local in the big city of Tulsa. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. A quick weather note. Do stay weather aware this week. It could get a little bumpy, especially tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, and showers on and off throughout the week. You know what else is bumpy? The economy right now. It's kind of crazy, and the Fed's got a big meeting this week. They're going to do what they can to try and iron out some of the wrinkles, but will they be successful? And is Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies a good hedge against all this bad craziness? Well, I know somebody we can ask. His name is Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
That's right. We're here in studio, and this is, like I said, it's a journey. It's an educational process. That's why we do this show. We want people to, especially when things are uncertain, like we want to let people know, like, hey, A, what's going on, and B, here's why you should either care or not care. So tune in every Sunday, and hey, guess what? If you miss an episode, we got something for you on that here in just a minute. But I do want to welcome back my co-host, Eric Cooper. Eric, you ready to kick this off?
Let's roll.
Okay. And then also in studio with us is our lovely friend and sponsor, Scott McElroy. Scott.
Hello.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here. But Eric, I think you got some announcements for us.
Yeah. So if you have ever missed one of our episodes, it's all right. We still love you, and we still want to help you through this journey. Go back and check out KRMG On Demand. You're going to be able to go back and listen to let's see here, 44 episodes at this point, minus the missing episode. And you can also check us out at YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, everywhere. If you just go Google Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore, you're going to be able to find some content. And that content brought to you by our wonderful sponsor, and it's brought to you by Hedge. If you don't have a strategy to obtain cryptocurrency on a regular basis, to automate your dollar cost averaging like Scott and I were talking about, or even getting a part of your paycheck in crypto, Hedge is revolutionizing how you get paid. Hedge makes it easy to automatically convert your pay into cryptocurrency. Whether you're an employer or employee, you can get started in 4 easy steps. Start getting paid in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin. Crypto's a long-term play. Start a strategy today. Hedge is here to make it easy to stack those sats month after month. What are you waiting for? Start living life on the Hedge. Get them and check them out at gethedge.io. Once again, gethedge.io. And Matt, I think they can go to mattjmoore.com.
They can.
And find the Hedge. We got the Hedgehog, best logo in crypto.
Well,
and they can find it on your website.
Yeah, it was great. We got to see them down in Miami, but as great as it was to visit with their team, I also got to meet with the Amber team, and our guest today is actually with the Amber team. Last segment, we actually mentioned that we were going to bring on Ben Jarvie. I don't know if we actually mentioned his name, but his name is Ben Jarvie. And again, he is with the Bitcoin app known as Amber. Ben is on the line. So, Ben, I want to welcome you to one of America's only radio shows dedicated to educating people about Bitcoin. Please introduce yourself, my friend.
Sure thing. Firstly, thank you for having me on. As you said, my name is Ben. I'm from New Zealand, hence the funny accent. I've been a very nomadic person, traveled a lot of the world, and then I have found and was met by the Amber team when I was traveling through Brisbane, and it's been a hell of a journey since then.
Ben, before we dive into today's topic, can you share with us some of the details about the product and services that you guys offer over at Amber, and just what your value prop and what sets you apart?
Sure thing. So you can check it out at www.amber.com. amber.app. The things that set us apart is we're a Bitcoin-only business. We believe that Bitcoin is the signal and the others are the noise. We provide institutional-grade security with our partnership with Unchained Capital. And we also provide dollar cost averaging capability and some smart automations like buy the dip.
Hey, Ben, how has the response been with your app throughout the years? And why is DCA automation such a focus for you guys?
Sure. Well, like me and a few others, we're very busy people. And so we don't have the time to be assessing all of these different investments. We believe that time in the market is better than trying to time the market based on some tea leaves. So that's why dollar cost averaging is important, because you get the highs, you get the lows. But as we've seen with Bitcoin, since we started in 2017, it's currently up around 800%. So that's why we believe timing the market's important, or time in the market, sorry.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. And we definitely subscribe to that strategy as well. And for those who might be new to Bitcoin and have never been through the dark days of a crypto winter, can you make the case to them why buying Bitcoin, even when things look uncertain, is still a good idea? I mean, how can you calm somebody's nerves when they're just, focused? They're so focused on the dollar price.
I understand that. Well, we have a investment calculator on our website. So you can see over the long term, there's never been a 4-year period which has had a less of an amount in terms of dollars at the end of it than there was prior. Generally speaking, it's usually about a 10x. So yeah, if you're in the dark days, I suggest buying more, because historically that's been a great move.
So when you guys first originated, is it in Australia, but now you have an operation for the U.S.? I mean, are these your only two target markets? And I mean, is that correct? Did I get that right?
Yeah, so just in Australia and the US for now. We are planning on entering 10 or 20 extra countries by the end of the year, but we went for the bigger markets first, naturally.
Okay, well, awesome. Well, I'm really looking forward to digging into this. I think we got to go to break here shortly. How many more minutes we got here?
Oh, you got about another 30 seconds. 40
Oh, okay.
seconds.
Well, that solves that problem. Well, hey, stick around.
Actually, no, that's not true.
No?
You got a couple minutes.
Okay, we got a couple minutes.
I'm not good at math.
No.
Did I ever tell you that?
Oh, now you're starting to sound like Greg Foss. But speaking of Greg Foss, I was actually, when I was in Miami and I ran into your team at the Amber app, or the Amber booth. I don't know if I had met you. I had met a handful of people, but really loved the chat that I had and what you guys were doing there. In fact, the only reason why I think we kind of connected and stumbled was we had Greg Foss on the radio, and somebody from your team actually listened to that episode. Is this the first time hearing about our program?
No, we all had heard of your program when you came up to chat, I think, because we are all big fans of Greg. I've known him for a few years. He's a good man.
I love it. Yeah, I definitely want to have him back on. But hey, quick question for you. When do you think that we will see the world flip from a dollar mindset to a Bitcoin mindset? Is that something in the near time, or is that something out in the future?
I think it depends on where you are in the world. Because I think a lot of the currencies will fail before the dollar. For instance, we're watching that happen in Turkey, in Argentina, and Lebanon, etc. So if you're in those quote unquote third world countries, you're going to feel that inflation that's exported, heavier than they are in the US. So it depends on where you live, but I'd say 5 to 10 years, because it's going to be a binary choice between a central bank digital currency and Bitcoin.
Absolutely. Well, when I was down in Shawnee, Oklahoma, speaking to the Chamber of Commerce, I told a bunch of bankers, I said, hey, listen, you want Bitcoin over these central bank digital currencies. Trust me. It was a fascinating conversation. But Ben, stay on the line with us. We got another couple more segments, and I look forward to drilling down with some more questions. But I just want to remind our listeners, if you are just curious, or maybe you got questions and you want somebody to hold your hand, you can go to my website, mattjmoore.com, and I'd be more than happy to help you.
More than happy. Do you hear it?
Yep.
Matt J. Moore, MOORE.com. That's where you'll find some answers and where you can ask some questions if you'd like. We'll be back with more of Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore after the news on KRMG. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. I'm Russell Mills, and we are live and local in the big city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. The talk so far has been interesting, and when I say we've got reach around the world, yeah, they've actually heard of this show in New Zealand, and we can prove that because we got a guy, from New Zealand on the show today. So that's just one of the many surprises that will unfold before your very ears when you tune in for Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. Let's bring in our host, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Russell. That's right. We are a bunch of Bitcoiners here sitting here. And yes, if you're wondering, we are kind of weird, but we celebrate it. There's a thing called orange billing. And so we hand those out regularly. So if you want to be weird like us and also enjoy the future, because we do think Bitcoin is the future, well, you can be a part of that party. And I want to welcome back my co-host, Eric Cooper. Eric's in studio here with his daughter.
Sir. Yes, sir. Matt, we are always excited on Sunday. It is Bitcoin Day every Sunday and every other day.
Right. And also with us is Scott McElroy, our friend and sponsor.
Hey, guys. Glad to be here.
Love it, man. Well, I think segment 3, we got some great more content.
Yeah,
here.
if you've missed the last few segments, we've been chatting with Ben Jarvie from the Amber app, and he has some awesome and amazing accent and viewpoints, and is the app that makes it super easy to buy Bitcoin and automate your DCA, your dollar cost averaging. Ben, welcome back to the show, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Now, recently you sent a graphic to Matt kind of displaying the difference between savings and investments, and when it comes time to preference, time preference, risk, and trust. Can you expand upon that idea?
Sure. So above the infographic that I sent, Matt, at the top half was talking about time along the x-axis and value along the y-axis. And it talked about currency going down in time, fiat currency, that is. And so that's looking at either a 2% at the minimum, that's what they aim for. The latest CPI was 7.9%. The Austrians view it as the increase in the M2 supply, so that puts about 20% per year over the last 2 years. And then you look at money and it's going up in value, so that'll be either gold or Bitcoin. And then underneath it talks about time preference, which is just how you value the future compared to the current. And so if you have the ability to save, you're saving in money, the most liquid good, and that reduces your future uncertainty. But if you can't save in the present because of high monetary inflation, then your time preference increases and you have to have more risk and trust other people in order just to sit still in terms of your purchasing power. And you do that through investments rather than savings, which is less trust, low risk, low reward, but it allows you to have more time doing what you love, essentially.
Yeah, I think those are all great points. And if you're not familiar with that, I'll actually probably, if I've got permission, post that graphic on Twitter. So if people are interested in checking it out, definitely something you should wrap your head around if you're listening to this program. And this is going to be kind of the pinnacle of the show here, this topic here. And a lot of people are asking this question, is Bitcoin the Myspace of cryptocurrency? But let's be honest here. The crypto world is massive, and there's lots going on. There's lots of noise, and there's lots of classifications and lots of subcultures and communities. You got Bitcoin maxis and Bitcoiners and crypto degenerates and toxic maxis, however you want to classify it. That's for a whole nother episode, and we're not going to go down that road today. But I'm a Bitcoiner at heart, and I like to generate healthy discussions, and I believe Bitcoin is in a class of its own. In fact, I actually believe Bitcoin's already won with what it's trying to do. There's really no real competitor to Bitcoin, and many of the altcoins could be classified as securities in many ways. And oftentimes you do hear people say, well, Bitcoin is old technology and it's the MySpace of cryptocurrency, and it's too expensive. But I don't really subscribe to that idea due to Bitcoin's network effect and what it's solving. In fact, much of the internet today is built with the same early protocols. And instead of scrapping the old for something new, we built on top of these early protocols. Ben, can you make the case to the audience why Bitcoin is here to stay and why it's not the MySpace?
Sure. So Bitcoin is here to stay. I think some of the common misnomers around this sort of sector is that they think blockchain equals decentralized, and that's what provides the security. when in reality, it's the incentives for users to run nodes and distribute the software. So that's what provides the decentralized aspect. It's all these different nodes running their own software and agreeing to rules instead of rulers. And we can see that in contrast to, say, Ethereum, which was help funded by JP Morgan, closely working with the World Economic Forum. They had a 70% pre-mine at the start. It's insane fees to send to one another. There has been, for their quote-unquote decentralized applications, there's been plenty of hacks. You can look at the DAO, Sushi, Uniswap, Yam. All of these ridiculous names have been hacked. Or you can look at last week, Solana has currently stopped working. So all of these alternatives have either shown that they're centralized and require and rely upon Amazon web servers, or that they can change the monetary policy. And if they can change it or they can stop it, then given enough incentive to do so, they would.
Hey, Ben, it's Scott. Why do you think that Bitcoin is sort of classified as the most decentralized cryptocurrency, and maybe it might be considered the only decentralized cryptocurrency out there?
Sure. So I think it comes down to a few factors. People all coalescing around the finite amount. So no more inflation, no more seigniorage for whoever's issuing it. It's basically anyone who wants to participate can. So it's a voluntary opt-in, opt-out. For example, I can mine Bitcoin at home if I deem so. I can run a node. I can easily, choose which rules I follow or don't follow. Whereas if everything else, with Ethereum moving to proof of stake, or with Solana and their new upgrades, you don't have a choice. You're forced to follow rules, which means you have rulers.
So obviously we're seeing, the Republic of Central Africa, El Salvador, we're doing stuff here, you're doing stuff there. How has Bitcoin been changing kind of the general mindset of the world? And do you have any, really specific examples?
Sure. So when I was in Miami, where I met you, I met a few people. There's this one guy who's, quite renowned. His name is Mandrick. He was an agorist and he was an early adopter of Bitcoin. He understood the value proposition and he was doing whatever he could to earn more. He was cleaning toilets. He was making food and selling it. His famous baklava, he sold for 3 Bitcoin back then. It's now 120 grand for that piece of baklava. But what we're seeing it either for the individual or big companies like MicroStrategy, or now nation states like El Salvador or Africa, what we're seeing is their time preference is lowering. They now, as a nation, as a companies, as individuals, have the ability to save for the future, reduce future uncertainty, and that allows them to organize a lot better.
And so, Ben, how early do you think we are in this space?
Most technologies have like an S curve for adoption. From the stats that I've seen, we're still like in the 5% of the world has had some communication or interaction with it. So I think we're still incredibly early to the space, and it has a lot of room left to grow.
So Ben, this is a question kind of, just out of left field here, but I wanted to ask you, as far as, Bitcoin and the layers that are being built on Bitcoin, do you see it kind of being structured or evolving very similar to how the internet did, in kind of in a similar way? Now, I'm not saying exactly, but with like layer 2s and these multiple layers that are going to be built on top of Bitcoin, do you think that's how Bitcoin's going to evolve?
Yeah, so the reason why you don't build it all on the base layer is because you want to have it as simple and robust and as slow as possible, so it doesn't leave any room for any bugs or anything to fail. So we have secondary layers like the Lightning Network, which you can kind of think about, as a digital version of fiat currency, in the sense that we had gold, which was for final settlement between countries. And then they used currency because it was more portable, it was more divisible, it was easier to send back and forth. And essentially, when they wanted to finish trading, they would then finally settle with gold, because it was expensive to ship, it's expensive to verify, etc. So that's kind of the reasoning why we have these secondary layers. And it's kind of changing a lot of how we used to think about, interacting with one another. I think the value for value podcasting and being able to send, fractions of a penny online for microtransactions will really change a lot of sectors.
Okay, so Ben, this might be a personal question, and if you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I was going to ask you, I've been in the space for about 6 years now, and I've seen a lot of OGs who were, big influencers who are not here anymore. But what have you seen, or how long have you been in the space, and how have you seen this evolution of the people getting in? I mean, do you have any opinions around that? What's changed for you?
Yeah, I kind of entered around the same time as you did. They talk about what's called the hero's journey, where you come in, you're pretty green, you don't understand a lot of the fundamental concepts. And then the more you grow, the more, value you provide, the more capital accumulation you have, the more you start caring about your privacy in many ways. And so when you first hear about it, you want to have every conversation you kind of can and talk about it as much as possible. But once you have accumulated enough capital, you want to be a bit more cautious of who you interact with, because it does take a lot of time to hold someone's hand, because it is a pretty steep learning curve. And saying it though, all of the content that's required is already available online. So you kind of just want to point them to the right direction, I think.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a productive way of doing it, and I've done that often. And what I've been focused on is I've been really focusing on reaching baby boomers for this space, and that's not an insult or a derogative term. It's just literally, I feel like there is going to have to be a lot of hand holding for that generation, and that's one of the reasons why we're also on the radio. But I want to just encourage everybody. This is a large space to understand and swallow and wrap your mind around. Do not be discouraged whatsoever. In fact, that's why we do this show. We want to educate people. We want to keep people safe. And I know Ben was saying it's a lot of work to hold people's hands, but I'm willing to do it. And if you want to go to my website, mattjmoore.com, I'd be more than happy to do a consultation.
That's Matt J. Moore, M-A-T-T, letter J, MOORE.com. That's where you'll find his website. And as Eric told you earlier, if you missed one of these shows, they're all there for you on the KRMG website and the KRMG app. Just look at the on-demand section for cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. And we'll be back with more of that show right after this. You listen to 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. I'm Russell Mills. Do appreciate you tuning in this evening. We are live, as we are every Sunday, from 5 to 6 p.m. here on the old KMR. We've had a really interesting conversation today. Let's keep it going. Our host is Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, that's right. We're back in the saddle, and we're ready to take off. We're ready to dive deeper into this, and with our guest especially. But to help me do that, two trusted friends, a co-host and a sponsor, Eric Cooper and Scott McElroy. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. How's it going? You guys enjoying this?
Always love it. Always love it.
I always love these conversations.
Well, this show is only made possible by our wonderful sponsors. And yes, of course, one is sitting here as well. And so today's segment is brought to you by our newest and local sponsor. Yes, spring is in the air if you haven't figured that out. And in Oklahoma, that means two things: tornadoes and nasty pollen all over the place. Ugh. Well, there's nothing we can do about those tornadoes, but we can definitely help you with that yellow pollen tinted car that becomes so prevalent this time of year. And that's why this segment is brought to you by Bubble Up Car Wash in Broken Arrow off of 470 East Kenosha Street. They are Broken Arrow's newest and locally owned car wash with all the bells and whistles to make your car clean, shiny, and dry. I can testify to that. Go take advantage of their free vacuums, air wands, and towels. Trust me, you'll need them. They have unlimited wash plans starting at $19.99 a month, and you can add a family member for just $15 a month per vehicle. So what are you waiting for? Go cheer up at Bubble Up, and who knows, you might catch a glimpse of their family dog, Bentley the Bubble Up Pup. You can check them out at www.mybubblup.com. All right, Scott, how'd that go? Did I miss anything? Is there anything going on at Bubble Up that I need to know about?
Yeah, I think I'm going to hire you to come and come and do my advertising from now on. So yeah, we've got our official grand opening. We've been open for 6 months now, but we've got our official grand opening this weekend, May 6th and 7th. And we will have gifts and prizes and entertainment. One of the things that we're doing is for the first 3 months, you can get any Bentley Pass, any of our memberships for $19.99 a month for the first 3 months. We will have Dustin with Tulsa Bubbles there doing some bubble entertainment for everybody waiting to get the car washed. And on Saturday, between 1 and 4, we will have Josh's snow cones out there giving out snow cones.
That's even better. Yeah, what an incentive. Well, guys, we've been having a great conversation with Ben Jarvie from the Amber app, and Ben, you there? Are you on the line with us here still?
Sure am.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, here's the fun questions. This is probably some questions that people are wondering. Yes, we've mentioned the Amber app, and yes, it is a place that you can buy Bitcoin and you can dollar cost average. But here's the question: is it cheap to use?
Yeah, so very competitive with fees, 0.99%.
Okay,
but I think something to add to that is like you're also getting institutional grade security for your custodial service. So in terms of like value for your money, it's pretty damn good.
Right. Well, and so you can actually store the Bitcoin with you guys, or do you have the option to also pull it off and put it in your own wallet?
Correct. So we wanted to help people who aren't yet competent to self-custody, or they just didn't want that responsibility. So we wanted to make it as safe as possible and convenient as possible for people to get exposure to.
So again, we got Bitcoin only. I'm assuming that you can download the app, Android and Apple. How about BlackBerry and Windows? Is it pretty easy to go get it?
Had to go there, didn't you?
I'm not too sure on those off the top of my head. I'm sure we can figure something out for you there.
So as far as the DCA, are there any limits, daily limits, weekly limits, anything like that? Because, I mean, obviously people they may use Strike or Coinbase, KuCoin, et cetera. Again, I think I asked you earlier, like, what's the number one thing that you think for someone who's kind of early into it that the benefit for Amber is going to be?
I think it'll be the custodial side of things, because if you think about it, the people who are new to it generally view it as an investment, and they're not going to self-custody Bitcoin until they actually understand the value proposition. So if you have people who aren't competent to run their own security setup, they just want to get exposure to it, treat it as an investment, set and forget in regards to dollar cost averaging.
And then if they are, literate in that world and want to own their own wallet, they still have that option, and they're getting it at a really good rate. That 99 basis points for every transaction is pretty good in this market, yes?
I like to think so, but I'm a bit biased here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and Ben, as someone who is working in this space as well, how easy it is to connect your bank account and easy for people to transfer and really kind of enter into this space.
Super simple. We use Plaid. So you sign in, you use Secure Auth to access your bank on the back end. You then go to select buy. It'll ask you if is it a one-off or do you want to do it, daily, weekly, monthly. Choice is yours. And once you set, you get to forget it, and that's everything sorted.
All right, really quick, Ben, where can they find you one more time?
At the Amber app, so www.amber.app.
Love it. Well, this has been a phenomenal show. I just want to thank you guys for joining us, and we look forward to future conversations with you, Ben.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks to Matt and Eric, and of course, Scott and Ben Jarvie, our special guest from the Amber app. That website again, amber.app. There is no .com in there, okay? AMBER.app. That's where you'll find it. Thanks for tuning in for Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. See you next week.